Let me welcome you again to Mason African Motives, whereby we are now going to look at EMS Grade 9 Term 1 revision. We are still under Economic and Management Science Grade 9 Term 1 revision. So now we are going to look at the multiple choice questions as well as true or false questions. So this is section A. So we are going to be on section A as we are preparing our term one test that we are going to write. Okay, now, so let us now get to the business of today, economic system. So economic system. We did talk about economic system to the past presentation that we made, but right now we are under multiple choice. So uh, it says education is provided by government and private institution in a mixed market economy, planned economy, traditional economy. So the answer is A. So these are the answers. A is the answer, mixed economy. Education is provided by government and private institution. So it means you are talking about a combination of two, which is government and private institution. So it is a mixed economy. So a mixed economy has both government and private institution providing services. So education in many countries like South Africa is provided by public government schools and private school. That is why it is a mixed economy. So that is that. So number two, South Africa's economic system is an example of so globalization, planned economy, mixed economy, market economy. So the answer is C. The answer is C. That is mixed economy again. Because South Africa has both government control in some sectors, private business operating freely. So that combination makes it a mixed economy. So that is that. Let's move on. Coming to number three, all economic activities are driven by profit motive in mixed economy, traditional economy, blended economy, market economy. So the correct answer is market economy. The correct answer is market economy. So when you're talking about market economy, in a market economy, a business operates to make profit. Business operates to make what? A profit. Private individuals own resources. Decisions are based on demand and supply. So get that straight. So now we are coming to number four. The market economy originates from the theories of, then we have Adam Smith, Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, as well as Fidel Castro. So Adam Smith is the is correct answer. The market economy originates from the theories of the Adam Smith. So that Adam Smith is known as the father of the market economy. That is that. So let us move on to number five. So number five, the way in which economies of most of the countries in the world are interconnected, making the world a virtually one big marketplace is called, so that is that. So you can see it's called capitalism, Marxism, globalization, communism. So the correct answer is C, globalization. So globalization means countries are connected. Trade happens worldwide. The world becomes one large marketplace. That is why our correct answer is C. That is why our correct answer is C. So let us move on to number six. Number six, read as follows. The economic system of the USA is an example of. The economic system of USA is an example of mixed economy, market economy, blend economy, globalization. That is market economy. That is market economy. The USA, United States of America, mainly follows a market economy where private business make decisions. Profit motive is important. Government involvement is limited. So that is why we're saying the economic system of the USA is market economy. So let us move on to number 7. A planned economy is where a planned economy is where these are the four options that are given. As you can see, we have economic decisions are made by the government and private individuals. There is no government and no private ownership. All economic decisions are made by the government. Private individuals are responsible for making all economic decisions. A planned economy is where all decisions are made by government. So the correct answer there is C. The correct answer there is C. A planned command economy. Government decides what to produce. Government decides how to produce. Government decides for whom to produce. So that is that. So now let us move on, good people. Number 8 is that a market economic system is where the answers that are given is private individuals are responsible for making all economic decisions. All economic decisions are made by the government. The tribe manages the economy according to their needs. A battery is used by government to provide for needs of the population. So a market economic system is where private individuals are responsible for making all economic decisions. So the correct answer is A. Correct answer is A. Private individuals are responsible for making all economic decisions. So that describes a market economy where individuals and business decide what to produce. So that is that. So now coming to number 9 now. Number 9. Which of the following characteristics define a mixed economy? Government controls the factors of production. Profit earned is kept by private individuals. Government decide what to produce. All economic decisions are made by the government. So the correct answer is B. Profit earned is kept by private individuals. That is number 9. So that is that. Where we are saying in a mixed economy, private individuals can earn and keep the profits. Government also plays a role. So it is a combination of market and government control. So that is that. So now coming to the number 10. Which of the following questions define the economic system? A. What and how much, how and for whom are goods being produced? B. How much tax will be paid? C. What is the price of the products? D. How many people live in a country? The correct answer is A. What, how much, and how and for whom are goods being produced? So that is economic system. So it's all about what to produce, how to produce, to whom to produce. So that is that. So now let us move on to circular flow. Let us move on to circular flow. Circular flow. So number 1 under circular flow says, in the economic system, wages, rent, interest, and profit are exchanged for investment, money, factors of production, goods and services. So the correct answer is factors of production. C is correct. Wages, rent, interest, profit are payments for labor, land, whereby in return you get rent. Labor, in return you are going to get what? Wages, capital, interest, entrepreneur, profit. These are factors of production. Number 2, the 3 participants in a closed economy are government, foreign sector, business, government, foreign sector, household, business, households, foreign sector. The correct answer is D, government, business, households. So that is D, the correct answer. So in a closed economy, there is no foreign sector. That is that. In a closed economy, there is no foreign sector. So participants are household, business, and government. That's all. Now moving on now, number 3. The factor market determines the price at which the factors of production sold. These factors are land, labor, capital, and goods. Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Rent, wages, salaries, and profits. Land, rent, natural resources, and business. So the correct answer is B. The factor market determines the price at which the factors of production are sold. So the factors are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So those are four factors of production traded in a factor market. So that is that. So now let us move on to number 4 under circular flow. Circular flow is simplified model that describes the inflation rate, interdependence of participants, markets, and flows in an economy, income of the state, business cycle of the economy. So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B, interdependence of participant, markets, and flows. So you know the circular flow model shows how households, business, and government. So let us move on to number 5. Number 5, a country has a closed economy when they buy goods from other countries, they sell goods to other countries, they don't trade with other countries, there is monetary flow in and out of the country. So a country has a closed economy when they don't trade with other countries. The correct answer there is C. The correct answer is C. They don't trade with other countries. So no imports, no exports. That is that. So moving on to number 6, a country has an open economy when they don't trade with other countries, there is no monetary flow in and out of the country, they don't buy goods from other countries, they trade with other countries. That is a correct answer. The correct answer is D. They trade with other countries. An open economy imports goods, exports goods, so trade is internationally. So that is that, good people. So let us move on to number 7 under circular flow. Who is not participant in the circular flow? Households, business, trade unions, government. So trade unions are not participant in a circular flow. They are not. Trade unions are not. Trade unions are not one of the main participants in the circular flow model. Main participant, household, business, and government. Number 9, the money flow is the flow of income and payment, the flow of goods, the flow of factors of production, the flow of services. The correct answer is A, the flow of income and payment. So that is that the flow of money and payment. So the flow of income and payment, the money flow is wages, rent, interest, profit, taxes. That's what we are talking about. So number 10, activities on the factor market include selling of goods and services, selling factors of production, buying of goods and services, buying of equipment. The correct answer is B, selling of factors of production. We're talking about factor market activities include households selling labor, owners selling land or capital. So that is that. Let's quickly go to um, true or false. Like I've said, we are going to talk about multiple choice. We're going to be on multiple choice questions as well as true or false questions. So we're still under economy and also economic system. So as it says, indicate whether the following are true or false and write only the word true or false in the space provided. So now we are on true or false. So it says 1.1. Here we have statements and then we're going to have answers. Decide. An economic system is the way in which people decide to organize the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. So that is true. So an economic system explains how goods and services are produced, distributed as well. So the correct answer is true. What and how and for whom to produce are the basic economic questions that every society must answer. So every society must answer what and how and for whom. So this is correct. True is correct. So all societies answer the three basic questions in the same way. So we are saying different societies answer the questions differently depending on other system. So here is false. Here it's false because different societies answer the questions differently depending on their system. So it's false to say all society answer three basic questions in the same way. No. Different societies answer the questions differently, not in the same way. So that is why we say it's false. In a command economy, a central authority makes the decisions regarding what and how and for whom to produce. So this one is true. Is true. In a command economy, the government makes all decisions. That's what we have said. The global economy is characterized by free trade. That is true. That is true. Global economy encourages free trade between countries. That is true. The, in the market economy, only the government decides what goods and services are produced. In a market economy, this is false. This is false. That in a market economy, individuals and businesses, not only government. So that is false. In a market economy, individuals and business, not only government. So it's false to say in a market economy, only government decides. No, 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 no. Individuals and business do decides what goods and services are to be produced. Hope we are together on that. In a command economy, the aim of business is to make a profit. That is false. Because when you talk of a command economy, we're talking about a planned economy, we're talking about a central economy. So it's false to say that. In a command economy, profit is not the main goal. Government focus on meeting the needs. They focus on meeting the needs of the community. So the profit is not the main goal. In a command economy, the government decides how the goods and services that are to be produced will be distributed. That is true. That is true. That in a command economy, government controls distribution in a command of economy. So it's true. In a market economy, decisions regarding production and consumption results from the interaction of consumers and producers. That is also true. That in a market economy, decisions regarding production and consumption result from the interaction of consumers and producers. So that is also true. The United States of America is an example of command economy. So that is false. The USA is an example of mixed economy, market economy, in fact, not command economy. So now we are coming to circular flow. We are on circular flow, true or false, under circular flow. So it reads as follows. Just like what you just did now, we are going to have statement and then we are going to have answers. Under circular flow now, as it says, indicate whether the following statements are true or false and write only the word true or false in the space provided. So that is that. So 1.1.1 says an economy that interacts with other economies or trade with them is a closed economy. So it's not, it's an open economy. So that is why it's false here. That is why it's false here. So a country that trades with others is an open economy, not closed. So that is that. Technology is a factor of production. Technology is a factor of production. That is false. The four factors of production are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur, not technology. So that is why it's false here. Interest is the remuneration for capital. That is true. That is true. That is true that interest is the remuneration for capital. So that is true. Interest is a payment for using capital. A factor market is a market for goods and services. That is false. A factor market is for factors of production, not goods or services. It's for factors of production. Households are the primary consumer of goods and services. That is true. That is true. Households are the main consumers. So that is true. The government receives VAT from sale of goods and services. That is true. A government collects VAT, value added tax. The flow of goods and services is a real flow. That is true. That is true that the flow of goods and services is a real flow. Goods and services moving is part of the real flow. The government is made up of central and local government. The government is made up of central and local government. That is false. That is false. That is false. So it's false to say that because government includes national, provincial, and local levels, not central and local government only. Business pay tax to households. Business pay tax to households. False. That is false. Business pay tax to government, not households. The government provides general goods and services to households and businesses. False. That is false. 1.110. Government provides public goods and services today. They they provides public good. They provides public goods and services. So not that the government provides general goods and services to households and businesses. So that is false. So that is that. So this is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for your time. Please make use of this presentation for your preparation for the coming test that you're going to write. Thank you very much.